This video presentation of Midway Gold Corp. It's a New York Stock Exchange market company, trading our ticker MDW. For the last 9 months, it starts kind of in a descending triangle pattern, which certainly isn't a bullish pattern, but I can't help but notice the way it bounced off a support level again last week to wrap Friday closing up 4.2%, once again bouncing off that support right around 87.90 cents. You can see it's made some pretty nice moves off of that support in the past, so I want to pay attention to it going forward and see if it's going to try and make that type of climb again and go up and challenge those resistance points up around $1.20. And importantly, with the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average bearing down on the stock price, it could be a substantial reversal in the chart if it indeed can go up and make that move and challenge those resistance levels again. MACD is trending back towards zero since this bottom here in middle October. Of course, always important for the MACD to move through that level. In a longer term perspective, MACD is making some higher lows, but it's not that bullish. It's really just forming a wedge. I look for this bottom trend line to be held and to see if this MACD can break this top trend line. Of course, that's only if it breaks through zero first to go up there and challenge that point. Similar look to the PPO. ADX is in a pretty neutral position, only registering a 14.2, pinned right against the positive DI. Negative DI is actually moving up, and that's a little ugly, but it's still very low and close to the ADX. The positive and negative DIs can whipsaw around pretty quickly, so I'm not that concerned about that right this moment. Still think that's taken on a very neutral look, not a lot of strength in any direction. But this is a pretty nice look at the money flow index, climbing upward, all three components over top of 50. Of course, that's where I want to see the MFI hold. It's a much more bullish position when all three components are holding the upper half of any indicator. Accumulation distribution, also trending upward, indicating that there's some buying pressure in this play. That's reinforced by the Chaikin money flow, holding in the green. Says over the last 20 periods, buying pressure is outweighing selling pressure. CCI is right around zero. That just tells me that the price is at its 20-day mean, essentially. Buy and sell points come from the break of 100. So technically speaking, the stock would have been a sell when the CCI broke back down through 100 about a week or so ago. But holding right there in the center is just a pretty neutral reading. And I'd look for this rotation to continue. And of course, you want to see that break back above zero. Buying pressure that came in on Friday started to make the full stow rotate. Again, holding the upper half of that indicator. And those type of things all tie in nicely with that stock trying to come off a support point because they can quickly turn back into bullish positions. And similar to the MACD, tricks moving back towards zero, and I'll be looking forward to break above that zero mark and hold above that zero mark to indicate the trend is bullish. Very neutral look to the relative strength index. Again, all three components right there tucked at 50. This is going to make the type of move that I referenced at the beginning to break through the 50 and 200-day moving averages. It's going to be very important that they hold over top of 50. To show that the bullish momentum is being sustained in the play. Now I'll note this bottom support all the way down here around 86 cents. See, that's been a general area of support. It really runs all the way up to around 90 cents, which is where the stock price bounced on Friday, and as it so happens in mid-October. So in any pullbacks from Friday's closing price at 98 cents, that'd be the first spot I'd be looking for, because since back here in June, stock hasn't closed below that level, and only even did that once at that time. So that'd be the first area I'd be looking for. Of course, the very bottom support at 86 absolutely have to stay intact. There's no support visible in this chart beyond that. Now to the upside, you can see some resistance here at 99 cents. That's going to be a pretty important point because that's right where the 50-day moving average is, this blue line. And if it does break above that, I'd be looking for it on any retrace to finally hold over top of that 50-day. You can see it has made the move through it several times. Then it's come right back down and crashed right back through it again. Even here just in the last week or so, made a move above it and then broke right back down through it. Point being here, while it's important to move through the 50-day, it's even more important to hold above it. So that's the first baby step forward I'd be looking for. And then of course comes this red line, it's 200-day. It's a much more substantial moving average. See, the stock price has a very difficult time moving through that area. Not a lot of static resistance through there, a little bit right through there from back in March. But more recently, not a lot of resistance at that level. So it's primarily up to that dynamic 200-day moving average. I don't see a lot of static resistance coming in play till up around $1.10. But even more importantly, right up there at $1.20. And that would be the reversal point that I'd be looking for, even though it's more than 20% down the road. But if this chart's going to find a bottom and start to climb upward, that's a key point for it. And even though the stock does make some pretty good moves in one day, a climb back towards that level could take several weeks. So if this support stays intact, chart takes on more of a swing trade type of look. And going forward, just looking for the overall reversal and trying to start to trade above these key moving averages. Volume picked up on Friday, 556,000 shares traded, a definite increase over previous days, and certainly above a 3-month average. And that could just be because technical traders always have that buy on support mentality, and so I'd look for that volume to stay strong moving forward to try and continue the upward pressure. So with all those points in mind, this is a chart that we'll keep an eye on going forward to see how it performs. As always, merely my interpretation of the MDW chart. Thank you for watching. Trade smart.